68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three! And you're going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Bill Callahan Fan Club president, Jake Bakoven.
I love Billy.
Coming at you live from the Koppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strick and Bach. Hold up.
We are very excited to be here with you here. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket. We're live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O. We'll be here till 6 o'clock. Of course, you can stay a little bit later as the games will be going on through the night. Come watch all the games with us today. Don't forget that right now, Nebraska and Gonzaga, the women's basketball game, if you're getting off work, there's about a quarter left to get in here and watch the remainder of that game. And one of the best places to do it in town. And, of course, in our opinion, the best, because we're right here at Buffalo Wings and Rings. Also giving away prizes at the top of every hour, so that will include the 5 o'clock hour. If you come in, get a seat. You don't even have to purchase anything, though I would go ahead and encourage you to do so. There's great food and beer here, but you have a chance to win a prize if you come in before 5 o'clock and try to get a raffle ticket here with us. Strick, I'd like to welcome you in as well, the Husker Hall of Famer, longtime NBA vet. Strick, how you doing today? Enjoying some more March Mayhem?
Yeah, man, it's been it's definitely been some mayhem. Obviously, you got to expect that it's going to happen at some point in time, right? You just don't know who it's going to be, and that's why brackets sometimes get busted. Some people have great success. They pick them. It could be your Aunt Mary or your baby that just kind of starts picking things and ends up with the best bracket, and the ones that think they know it all ends up with a busted bracket like right off the top. So it's a fun time because it's a lot of an opportunity for friends and family to come together and watch and to explore. Obviously, you're having a good time there at Wings and Rings and Buffalo Wings and Rings, and so I didn't want to make sure there might be a spot called Wings and Rings, so make sure I absolutely state it's Buffalo Wings and Rings. And but Kentucky ends up taking an L. I mean, just things like that, man, just ends up happening, and it happens quite often. Obviously, Iowa going down the way that they did, more teams out there just finding themselves in dog fights, and most of the ones in the top tier teams have done what they were supposed to, as you can see by some of the blowouts. But yeah, it's been fun to watch thus far. Definitely, which we'll get into, talking about what New Mexico State did. Creighton coming up big in their game. There was a lot of, with their inconsistency and kind of closing out the season and so forth and so on. Thought that they maybe come up short, but they came up big. And so there's still some big games left out there. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the night goes, and as well as we get into the weekend for second round.
Yeah, and the Big Ten's kind of had mixed results so far. I'll run through the scores that are going on right now, and that have happened today. First, we'll go with the finals. Ohio State got the win 54-41 over Loyola Chicago, so they're moving on. Texas Tech all over Montana State, 97-62. Purdue, another Big Ten team with a win today, 78-56. Auburn beat Jacksonville State 80-61. Villanova just finished not too long ago, beat Delaware 80-60. And the game's going on right now, knotted up at 18 for Texas and Virginia Tech. About 7 minutes ago in the first half there. About 2 minutes ago in the first half for Notre Dame and Alabama. Notre Dame looking to be that play-in team that makes some noise in the tournament this year. They're up 37-33 on Alabama. And USC in Miami, two of the dynasties in football in the early 2000s, now playing on the basketball court. Miami now 48-47 over USC. So that's kind of always fun. I can't help it regardless. If I see a matchup like that reminds me of football, I just kind of think and go back to those football schools. But either way, they're playing basketball and they're trying to get it rolling there And then, of course, the one of note for a lot of Husker fans right now, about 8:38 to go, potentially in the Husker season if they don't turn this around. They're in the fourth quarter. They're down to Gonzaga 57-45, and they do have the ball for what it's worth. So we'll see if they can make a late run at Gonzaga and try to get a win here in the tournament. We'll talk a little bit about that game as it concludes as well. But I did want to start, too, with your thoughts on some of the big news in the NFL over the last couple of days. Most specifically, I suppose, today, after we've been making fun of Cleveland for their inability to handle Baker Mayfield and just have seemed to rub them the wrong way over the last couple of days. It was reported earlier they were out of the sweepstakes for Deshaun Watson. Now they're the
Back
team.
in.
That he chose. They're back in, and they are now getting Deshaun Watson. It's going to cost them 5 picks and a whole lot of money. But do you like the move for Cleveland? They have everything else in place on that offense. Now an upgrade at quarterback. Maybe this is that team a couple years ago. People were saying they got to be the Super Bowl favorite with all these weapons that they have. I think now this team's a little bit better and more aligned with that contention to be a Super Bowl favorite. There's a lot of teams that have been making moves, specifically in the AFC West lately, to make you think that they could be Super Bowl favorites. So there's just a lot of talent going around the league right now, but include Cleveland in it with Deshaun Watson.
Well, yeah, I mean, picking up Deshaun Watson, obviously we thought that those sweepstakes was over for them. Probably hearing from Baker Mayfield, it got really intense for them and for their brass to really take a look at what do we have to do. We do have some significant pieces. They still need to add some additional pieces. Obviously, losing Jarvis Landry, they probably need to pick up another good, probably I would say a number one. If they can find another number one out there, it's going to get really tight at this point. But I think a number one, they have a great line already, a running game to add with Deshaun Watson. I don't think, looking at those old Houston teams, that they actually ever had a tremendous running game. I mean, I think they used what he brought to the table, had a basic running game. Line was he was always under stress for the most part, but he had, a great DeAndre Hopkins was a great receiver that he was able to go to, and they had some great tight end play back then as well. So him going up there and Njoku and the line that they have, Chubb with the running game, it's going to give him a tremendous amount of opportunity. I think this is a revival potentially for Amari Cooper as well. He just kind of seemed to fall into contentment down there in Cowboys country, but injuries also kind of were a part of what kind of led to him to kind of have a little downfall there. But now they just got to add a few more pieces, and I think they have a great opportunity to do something. Obviously, you hate to give up so many picks and a lot and money, but they probably felt that this was the best move for them. They needed to make it happen, and obviously, I'm sure Deshaun Watson is excited to get in there and make some noise.
And, of course, this was Deshaun Watson's choice, as he had the no-trade clause, so he was going to be able to choose which destination. There are plenty of reports out there that the Browns were – or not the Browns, the Texans were already accepting, several offers. It was just up to Deshaun to pick one. He chooses the Cleveland Browns. Even within his division, that's a pretty tough division. But we were talking about earlier, the AFC is just loaded at quarterback, from Russell Wilson to Justin Herbert to Patrick Mahomes to Joe Burrow's doing his thing.
Derek Carr,
he's solid. Even Lamar Jackson, obviously. Josh Allen might be the best among all those guys. Never mentioned even Trevor Lawrence might come up here in the next couple of years. So it's fascinating to see, as opposed to the NFC, where it's kind of the land of the older quarterbacks there. Even Matt Stafford's getting up there in age, but obviously Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people thought maybe an NFC South destination, whether it be the Saints or the Falcons, seemed to be the writing on the wall for Deshaun Watson. How much do you think that should have played into his focus? Because I think there's kind of two ways to think about it. The Browns, I think, have the roster set up to best fit his game, but there's plenty of competition in the AFC, as opposed to maybe he could have been the guy in the NFC once Rodgers and Brady move along.
Yeah, I mean, just think about the competition that's existing out there right now. It's definitely going to be a gauntlet to have to run. I don't know for sure if they're ready to compete on that level, but obviously having a piece like him is something that can help to build around. And he's very inspired, I'm sure, to get back on the field. We obviously haven't seen him now over a year and a little more, and so it's going to be probably some rust to be getting off, but I'm sure he's going to get in there. He's going to get with the offensive coordinators. He's going to get in the quarterback room. He's going to work his tail off. I've never thought that Deshaun Watson didn't have a work ethic. That's one thing that I didn't ever see from him. It seems that he really works at the craft. He's good at what he does. He's got a tremendous arm. And so he's going to be able to get balls downfield. That's something that the Browns, with Baker Mayfield, they had some potential, but Baker is kind of a guy that he can get it downfield, but he's more of, finding guys in the seams and finding guys on good deep dig routes, so forth and so on. But Deshaun can make every throw, comebacks, deep comebacks. He can drop it in there on a dime on you. And so as long as he doesn't have the rust, he's definitely gonna have an opportunity to do well. That AFC is it's a gauntlet, man. It's just going to be something that any and everybody's going to have to try to transverse, but to the best man be the spoils. That's the way I'm looking at it.
Yeah, it's fascinating, and we'll hit on the big Davonte Adams deal here in a second. But I want to hit this one because it's more recent. Juju Smith-Schuster now signing a one-year deal, betting on himself, signing with the Chiefs. So the Chiefs add to their weapons $10.75 million. Of course, they already have Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. I think Sammy Watkins was lost in free agency. So, maybe that's kind of their replacement here.
That's a good replacement, though, when you really think about it.
For what it's worth,
got some. Mm-hmm.
He's got to bet on himself, though, because he hasn't had the career maybe that you envisioned coming off that close to 1,500 yards receiving in 2018 over the last several years. Hasn't hit that 1,000-yard mark. Of course, was injured last year. So that's why I think this one-year deal kind of makes sense for both sides. But if there's anywhere, Watkins is a perfect example. If there's anywhere to revive your career, the Chiefs' weapons, I mean, there's going to be a lot of attention to obviously the other weapons out there. So I like that deal for the Chiefs. And, they're a team in that AFC West. So we're kind of looking at all the other teams making moves and going, wow, that's going to be crazy. But the Chiefs didn't necessarily have too many moves. They were just kind of already set in place as one of the primary Super Bowl favorites. This is a big move for him.
Yeah, definitely a big move. I mean, he's going to basically become in with his strength, his size. They can put him outside. They can throw him inside. They can move him around a little bit. With Kelce and with Tyreek Hill, obviously, they're going to have, Hardman's there too. They're going to have some, he's basically the fourth guy, to be honest. He's going to be the fourth guy. And with that in mind, that's going to create a lot of one-on-one opportunities. It's going to create a lot of opportunities for him to do what he does best. That's get downfield. That's also find himself in great routes and in the middle. Also, he runs pretty good patterns. I mean, I never really saw him as a great pass route runner, but he has some capabilities. And if he's betting on himself, then I'm sure he's working it out to make sure he's ready.
And I also want to give a shout out. I know it's not necessarily a huge news. I don't expect the Panthers to be contenders here, but they did sign DJ Moore to 3 years, $61.8 million as well. He's just 24 years old, coming out of Maryland a few years ago. Between him and Stephon Diggs, the only NFL players with more than 1,100-yard receiving yards in each of the past 3 seasons. So good on him. Also, they signed Johnny Hekker, one of the best punters in the league. He was let go by the Rams just a few days ago. So not big moves. I don't even know if you want to comment on those, but the Panthers at least doing their work. Everybody's got to get something done in free agency. But the big news that was hit last night, and all this stuff going on during the NCAA tournament, it's crazy because they would be the stories of the day, sometimes getting buried a little bit with college basketball going on. But obviously the big news last night, a big-time wide receiver going over to the AFC West once again, one maybe that we didn't expect to be moved after he was franchise tagged by the Packers. That's Davonte Adams going with the Raiders. I thought the Raiders, before this move too. I mean, they'd made some good moves, but just compared to the Chargers and the Broncos, obviously they looked like they were falling behind in that division. Davonte Adams is a heck of a move to try to get you back up there for a team that made the playoffs last year, and a quarterback in David Carr that's probably a little bit under-respected as far as his ability to lead you back late in games.
Well, they're going to get Davonte Adams, who has a 93.88 PFF rating, which is number one amongst all receivers. So that's tremendous for him. Davonte Adams making this choice. I mean, we know that Green Bay offered him the same deal. And so it seems as though Aaron Rodgers had known that this was pretty much going to be the case. And so for him to even make the choice to go back to Green Bay, even though he stated that he wanted Davonte Adams to be there, I don't know where this leaves Green Bay at this point, but this definitely, with all the trauma, all the issues, all the problems that they've had with some of their receivers, especially Henry Ruggs, who was definitely an up-and-coming one, going to be a top receiver, probably a top 10 receiver coming into this year, to lose him and then to now replace him with Davonte Adams is going to be tremendous. Also, the additional signings with Chandler Jones is going to make them awesome as well. Getting cornerback help. They've lost a couple of their first round draft picks as well, where they had to kind of leave him based on the gun issue that they had. One of their cornerbacks who was their first round pick, so they're signing guys. They're filling holes. They're putting guys in place right now. They land 2 cornerbacks in Anthony Averett and Darius Phillips, who is going to fill some of those. They get them on 1-year deals, so it's not something they have to be tied to in a while. So definitely landing Chandler Jones as well is going to give everybody what they're looking for, and especially with the Raiders not having great coverage, so to speak. They don't have great coverage guys there, so they're going to need pressure to be able to help some of those guys out. And so getting Chandler Jones, one of the biggest disappointment in Chandler Jones coming is losing in Ngakoue. And so when you lose him, I think, with his versatility, his speed around the edge, what he had done, he was what he brought to the table was creating fumbles. He was very good at creating fumbles and creating turnovers and opportunities for the Raiders. And I thought in a 3-man rotation, that would have been good to have kept him if they could have, being that Chandler Jones in his age, having over 107.5 sacks since 2012, having Ngakoue there as well would give a break, a rest, a time for Chandler Jones to be able to be effective and really useful, rested, to be able to come off the edge as well. And so mixing those guys up gives diversity there, and that they're going to miss losing Ngakoue also.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting move because Ngakoue a little bit younger, Chandler Jones getting up there in age, and maybe not as good in run support. So that's going to be interesting. Yeah. But, I mean, they do need to get after the quarterbacks, and he's one of the best players at doing that. So that'll be interesting. I did want to mention this, too. Luke Gifford, of course, former Nebraska linebacker, agreed to a 1-year contract with the Dallas Cowboys. He was on the roster the last 3 seasons, one of the top special teamers. So, maybe not as big news across the nation for Luke Gifford, but also a nice little cool shout out for him and the former Huskers getting it done in the NFL. We're going to take a quick break here from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68-0. The Nebraska women's game is winding down. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to pull it out. Gonzaga, with about a minute and a half, has a 13-point lead. So maybe we'll talk a little bit about that. Also, Doc Sadler, his position being wiped from Nebraska. So he's no longer with the Huskers. And Teddy Allen scoring 37. It's a weird time to be a Husker basketball fan. We'll break it down a little bit next year. Live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68-0. You're listening to On the Block.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68-0 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
A rain-snow mix will be possible this morning, then gradually moving out of the region. We may even break into some sunshine by late this afternoon, topping out at around 51 with north winds gusting over 20. Tonight, mainly clear, low dropping down to 28. A beautiful Saturday on the way, sunny with a high of 64. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
You didn't know for the longest time, where you were going. Did you ever see it playing out this way?
Honestly, no. For me, it's just every day I've just tried to get better, focus on things I can control. I wasn't getting the offers I wanted. Thankful for Nebraska for giving me a walk-on offer. I love my time at Nebraska. It kind of worked out that that's the route I wanted to go, to South Dakota State, the journey, and I've been appreciative of every step of the way.
Weekdays from 2 to 3 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
My computer was a dinosaur, and our TV, well, let's just say it was definitely time for an upgrade. But finding a way wasn't so simple. And then I found it, a research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. I earned cash for the study and was able to make those much-needed upgrades. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at helpresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com.
Hey, sports fans, Rico here with HIS Auto Care 70th and Van Dorn. Carfax recently awarded us as a top-rated auto service center for 2020, and Lincoln Choice Awards voted us as the 2021 top independent auto repair center. Call us at 402-488-8934 for superior service bumper to bumper. Mention this ad and get 7% off. Doesn't get any better than that. Rico for his Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to On the Block with Strickland on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
We're live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O. This is March Mayhem with 93.7. The ticket will be at Hartel 6. You want to get out here and watch some of these games? We still have a prize drawing. So if you just come in, take a seat, you'll get a raffle ticket and a chance to win some prizes. That will be at 5 o'clock. So very exciting. Even if you're not getting time for that, go ahead and stop on by. Great food, beer, and sports talk for you up until 6 o'clock. Just a reminder, Jake Sorensen of Early Break set to join the show here in about 30 minutes. I've got to get off running to a concert tonight, but start the weekend off a little bit early myself. But either way, I'll be looking at the scores all along while I'm at that concert. Speaking of scores, one has just gone final. Unfortunately for the Nebraska women, their season comes to a conclusion here in the first round of the tournament out there in Louisville, in the Wichita region. They've lost to Gonzaga 68-55. So again, Nebraska finishes the season at 24-9. Huge shout out and what a great season it was for the Husker women. Nothing to be ashamed of there. Again, second NCAA appearance in 6 years for Amy Williams and the Huskers. So nothing again to be ashamed of. Gonzaga moves on, probably awaiting Louisville, who will be the host team there. But again, 3 top 10 victories this year for the Huskers as we kind of look back on the women's season over Michigan twice, including in the Big Ten tournament where they made a little bit of a run. Indiana, another big win in the top 10 for Nebraska. Of course, they had that 12-0 start. Everybody felt disrespected. They weren't included in the top 25. I don't know if they'll quite make the top 25, but of course, Nebraska women's basketball seemingly headed in the right direction after this season. Running through the scores real quick for the Huskers today, Sam Hybe led the way with 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 steals. Jazz Shelley with 11 points, 4 assists for her today. Alexis Markowski with 10 points and 9 rebounds. He is a double-double machine. Almost got that once again today. Izzy Bourne with 6 points and 5 rebounds for the Huskers as well. But unfortunately, the season comes to a conclusion. Any thoughts quickly for the Husker women as their season does come to a conclusion, but a very successful season for the Husker women and Amy Williams?
Well, they just found themselves in a situation where they just didn't shoot the ball well. I mean, they had opportunities to do it, to get it done. It seemed as if in the last few games that Markowski struggled a little bit, shooting 3 for 10 tonight, but definitely doing what she does on the rebounding side. They came up short on the rebounding end as well, and they normally are also a higher assist team. So not shooting well and their assist numbers low. They like to turn teams over because they get after you defensively. They didn't really do that as much. In fact, losing 7-6 in the steal numbers. Definitely still, winning the turnover battle. They don't turn the ball over well, but just not having Markowski and then Widener not shooting the ball well at all either. It hurt them. It hurt them at their opportunity, shooting 32% for the game. Shooting the 3 helped them to stay in it, but it just wasn't enough tonight. And then also they're a very good free throw shooting team. And that's one thing that, when you look at it, they shot more free throws and still come up with only 59%. That's just not enough. And you can't overcome some of those numbers sometimes when you're playing in a tournament game. Those numbers are tough to overcome.
Yeah, so I know it's a frustrating end for them and probably not the best of feelings right now. But again, I think as they look back over this season, they'll be very happy with the steps that they've taken as Amy Williams has that program headed in the right direction. Let's update you on some of the men's brackets as some of those games are coming to a conclusion. Actually, just one of them, Miami and USC, maybe a little chance for some magic here. Miami with a 65-64 lead now over USC. 25 seconds to go. USC just hit a big shot, so they're not going down quietly. A few minutes ago, already penciled in Miami and moving on, but it's not necessarily the case. So it hasn't been a whole lot of great games coming to the conclusion today. Yesterday, we were spoiled. I think that was one of the best opening days in NCAA tournament history. 3 overtime games, a 15-2, of course, a 12-5. A lot of good stuff in there. But today, a lot of blowouts. So if you're looking for a close game to get you going here into the weekend, USC in Miami, a really good one coming to a conclusion. Some of the other scores right now, too early to tell if they're going to be good, but there's a couple tight ones. At halftime, the Fighting Irish with a 41-36 lead over the Alabama Crimson Tide. Also at the half, Texas with a 34-32 lead over Virginia Tech. So it looks like some of the games are a little bit closer, and maybe we can get some good action here today. Just hasn't been a lot of close games, but sometimes that can happen. It's
Vatech, who won the ACC in Texas, is right real tight right now at the half at 34-32. So that's one to watch. I think that game actually is going to probably be one of the better ones of the day outside of the Alabama Notre Dame game. Obviously, we have the one right now that's going on with Miami and USC. So those games right now that are still in action in halftime are potentially ones that can hold up if so. I still got to favor Notre Dame. That's usually one that fits there, and I think I maybe even looked at Vatech going forward in my bracket. And so right now they're only down by 2, but those are a couple to keep an eye on, no doubt.
And I did also want to talk about the move that were made from the Nebraska men's basketball team today. Of course, yesterday decided to part ways with Matt Abdelmassi, their lead recruiter, lead assistant, over his tenure here at Nebraska, along with that Iowa State, kind of Fred Hoiberg's right-hand man. Another right-hand man for Nebraska has been Doc Sadler. And at one time, of course, the head coach at Nebraska. Kind of a sad day to kind of see likely his time of being employed by Nebraska coming to a conclusion. He was not one of the top assistants for Nebraska this past year. I don't know how many people realize that, as of course he's kind of a name, a recognizable face there on the bench as well. But he was kind of demoted from the beginning of the season. Maybe it's just he's getting older into kind of a different position there, just below lead assistant. He was a special assistant to head coach. They decided to go ahead and take that title away, take that job away, and in the process, letting Doc Sadler go. You said it the other day. You expected a few more moves maybe to be made there. But never an exciting day to see a guy let go. Of course, Doc Sadler, somewhat infamously, I should say, around here, had some tears at his first press conference when he was let go as the head coach here. But just happy to see that he got his go here. But things weren't going right, and for Nebraska. Now for Fred Hoiberg, it kind of continues the narrative that he's going to have to find out a new way to win in college basketball, because Matt Abdelmassih and Doc Sadler were some of his key assistants when he was winning at Iowa State.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to. Well, I mean, I think there's some people that are out there. I think some people also that can look at their roster and understand that they've got some potential there, some things coming in. Especially retention has got to be the mode that they're looking at right now. So some of these moves can look like they're signifying a change, a turning of the coin, basically a flipping of the coin, basically to try to figure out whether or not they can keep some of those guys that may be looking elsewhere or looking to move into the NBA draft. So who they bring in, I think, may be something that some of the players may be looking at as well. What they're looking at. I mean, Doc Sadler, he's a great guy. I mean, other than his time at UTEP, he had great runs at UTEP. Took his team, one of his teams there to the first round, had a great second place finish in the conference, the Western Athletic Conference. Coming to Nebraska, just didn't do very well. Made a couple of 3 NIT runs, the furthest getting in the second round. Just couldn't really break loose. Had a 08, 09, 800 finish, 500 finish at 8-8 in the Big 12. So those were some of the things that he did well when he was at Nebraska. Just didn't have a very good run at it with the Big 12, and then going down to Southern Miss. He just kind of struggled a little bit, but he's a great guy, and I feel bad for him, But obviously he'll land somewhere. He still has a great basketball mind. He's very defensive oriented, and so somebody will probably pick him up.
Yeah, and it was crazy. Even I thought when he did join Nebraska, of course, he was the head coach at Southern Miss, so it was. And Nebraska might have paid a little bit more because that's just the disparity between those programs. But, he had things going, somewhat well over there at Southern Miss before joining Nebraska. It wasn't like he was on the hot seat there or anything. So he just seemed to be a Nebraska guy. And I think we'll always remember him as a Nebraska guy. And like you said, one of the nicest guys around. But unfortunately, in the second go round, like the first, there comes a time where you're ready for a split. Nebraska certainly needs a fresh coat of paint on that assistant coaching staff, and we'll see how that goes moving forward. I did want to bring this up too because it was highlighted the other day by the Omaha World Herald as well as Robin Washut of Husker Online. Sam Griesel is entered the portal and might be a target for Nebraska. He's a former Lincoln East kid. First team All-Summit out there with North Dakota State, averaged 14.3 points per game, 6.5 rebounds, and 3.4 assists. A 6'6" guard that's played point guard for him a little bit. Already has offers from Creighton, Northwestern, Penn State, Ohio State, Stanford, and Nebraska. So he said he's gonna look around. But it sounds like he's very intrigued by Nebraska. They're going to, of course, have to add a few guys. Trevor Lake's deciding to depart. They don't have a true point guard. Alonzo Verge, obviously, was the guy that tried to force in that position. He's out the door. Maybe some guys in that recruiting class, they can run in there. But certainly you got to be thinking there's some upside with a 6'6" shooting guard, or point guard type that has an affinity for Nebraska, born and raised in Lincoln.
Yeah, I think that could be an opportunity, and I think that's with his ability to not necessarily have to have the ball to score, that's a good thing for him. He could be a great setup guy at his size to be able to take advantage of smaller guards also that's out there. I'd like to see a little bit more about his foot speed, but I think he can get there. He has an okay handle. He's not a guy that's just a super turnover prone guy. But he can shoot the ball. He's got a wide range in his game, and so if they're looking out there, that opportunity for him would definitely open up. Being Verge is on his way out the door, and there's really no one that you can just say is that guy that fits the mold. It's pretty much point guard by committee. So we don't know how that's going to pan out, but we don't know what else is out there. I don't know if they're going in a different direction, if they're going to look to a young freshman point guard to maybe find out there as well. So it's going to be interesting to see which direction they go, who they also bring in on the coaching staff, and what impact those guys are going to also bring. Maybe they bring somebody with them as well.
Yeah, I think you're going to have quite a different look from Nebraska next year. Hopefully able to retain a few of those guys. We'll find out in the next couple of weeks if Bryce McGowan's obviously is going to test his way in the NBA. We'll see kind of how that thing shakes up. Trey McGowan's his brother, Derek Walker, some of the other guys that we'll probably hear from and see if they're planning on coming back. I think a little bit of roster turnover doesn't hurt too much. It's part of the game, but it's been a struggle for Nebraska to keep too many of these guys together.
I think an opportunity real quick is definitely for Derek Walker, being that he's already graduated. He probably wouldn't have to take a whole bunch of classes. I think he could probably he needs to really work on stretching his jump shot a little bit. He needs to work on definitely that 15 to 18 foot, make that a little bit more consistent for himself before he wants to look professionally. Otherwise, he'll definitely be looking at an overseas move. With the style of the NBA of these days, even overseas, it's he's stretching that field. I have a guy that I'm close friends with. We work out. He's actually overseas right now, a little bit older now, but his name is Xavier Gibson. Xavier Gibson at 6'11" can shoot the three. He can stretch the field. He can stretch the floor, and so even with him being at 6'11", he's still a guy that is sought after still because of his ability to shoot the ball. And I think if Walker wants to maybe make a leap or make a jump at the next level, I think that part of his game needs to be worked on. And I think coming back, that would be a discussion I would have with Coach Horberg and sit down with him and say, hey, listen, this is how I worked inside, but I definitely need to work on having something in the offense that would work on me being a pick and pop guy, a guy who can knock down a shot if I need to, and work on that in the offseason.
What would your pitch be to Trey? Especially, if Bryce is going to make his own decision, maybe he moves on. For Trey, do you think it's just coming off the injury-riddled season? He's got athleticism, obviously, to make money playing basketball. I don't know if it's in the NBA, but ultimately overseas or whatnot. Is that the biggest pitch, is just to go out on a good note rather than an injury-riddled season?
I would injury-riddled and a bad season. Those are the things, especially somebody like himself, that would hurt. One of the things that helped me was the run that we made in the NIT that got us into the championship game and obviously winning it there in New York, where a lot of scouts and a lot of people were able to get a look at me and see some things there. So changing again, as I spoke about, the narrative of what transpired in this last season of having a losing season and losing the way that they were. And then you've seen some upside, and now being able to come back, and Trey needs to work on consistency in his jumper as well. Also not creating as many turnovers and seeming to be kind of hectic a little bit and just kind of just going downhill and just doesn't have any ability to kind of control himself. I don't want to say he's out of control, but I know he's trying to make plays, but it kind of looks like that. And so taking care of that, showing that he can handle the ball, make solid decisions, but his defense is not going to be a problem for him. But showing consistency there, I'd have a discussion with him about definitely coming back, changing this narrative, and we want you here to be able to do it.
Well, and a big storyline out of yesterday, not just here in Nebraska, but in the tournament, was Teddy Allen and his 37 points for New Mexico State and their upset victory there. I want to ask you next. We're going to take a quick break, but I want to ask you, because I'm just kind of fantasy booking my own team now from last year. If there would be enough ball, if they could have kept Teddy Allen around, brought Delano Benton back, and had Bryce McGowan for this team, I want to get your thoughts on what that team would kind of look like. So we'll do that next. We're going to take a break here from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and 0. We are live. This is March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket. Your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings is also next, right around the corner. I'll give the signal, and then caller number 3 will have the opportunity to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. So we'll do that right around the corner. That's next. We're live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and 0. You're listening to On the Block.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and 0 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers is all about the good and creating more of it. More drive-through celebrations, more weekend traditions, more family dinners and lunches, more car picnics and road trips, more desserts, maybe more second desserts. More celebrating being together as much as we can. There's always room for more good and more Freddy's. Keep the good going with a taste that brings you back.
There's a lot that goes into buying a home. Security First Bank can help lighten the load. Whether you're looking for more space or a new place, we make the process easier with friendly, experienced mortgage lenders. And whether you're building new or remodeling the old, we have flexible financing too. Security First Bank. We're the bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender. NMLS number 505011.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete.
Sun Valley Lanes and Games is now offering spring sand volleyball leagues. Sand volleyball leagues are 9 weeks long beginning April 3rd. Registration's available online at sunvalleylanes.com. Use the promo code 93.7 to save 5%. That's sunvalleylanes.com, promo code 93.7. Volleyball not your thing? They also offer fun cornhole and bowling leagues. Visit sunvalleylanes.com for complete details.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
Shopping for insurance can be a tedious and frustrating task, but the agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether you're looking for business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has the agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsurancene.com.
Round up your friends and coworkers to get out and play softball. Different skill levels are available in either competitive or recreational for men, women, and co-ed. All teams get 6 weeks or 8 weeks of regular season games, depending on the day you play, plus a double elimination tournament. Games start in April and play through July. Registration closes March 27th, so get signed up today. For more info and to sign up for adult summer softball, go to teamsideline.com/LincolnNE.
Need to send a message? Send it with cake. Congratulations? Here's a congratulations chocolate rum cake from Beatrice Bakery. Thank you? Say thank you with an amaretto cake. I'm sorry that I accidentally hit your mailbox with my car as I was backing out of the driveway and then continued right into your prized petunias. You say that with a lemon drop cake. Everybody knows that. Beatrice Bakery in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Here to help you say whatever it is you need to say. Welcome to our world of yum.
Hello, I'm Charlie Stone, back with the latest news from Honda of Lincoln. Joining me now is the general manager, Andy Goodyear. Hey, Andy, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Charlie.
Hey, Andy, with spring right around the corner, how is your supply of new Hondas and pre-owned vehicles?
Really good, Charlie. As I've said before, when you drive by our lot, you don't see what you're looking for, just remember we have hundreds of new Hondas arriving soon, with Honda continuing to offer 0.9% APR financing to qualified buyers. Plus, we have over 125 pre-owned vehicles in stock and ready for immediate delivery.
That's great, Andy. Any more great news?
There is, Charlie. Honda just announced financing from 0.99% APR on certified pre-owned Hondas for qualified buyers.
So come experience the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
The captain, Vershawn Jackson.
My hardest job is to know how to win and how to lose and be able to handle adversity.
Well, I think that's also good because adversity is a great teacher. Usually when you're winning, you're not going to change much. When you really encounter adversity, then everything's on the table. you begin to really examine your life and examine what you've been doing and what you haven't been doing. And that's when sometimes the most meaningful changes occur.
Weekdays from 11 to 2 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. It's time to play Shootout with Strick. Call now, 464-5685, to take your shot against Eric Strickland. Shootout with Strick. Brought to you by Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Time to play the game.
It is time for your chance to win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. However, since we are live on location, we'll go ahead and skip Shootout with Strick, the game. We'll get back to that next week. But caller number 4 right now will win $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. So go ahead and give us a call, 402-464-5685. Once again, caller number 4. All you have to do is call in. Caller number 4 wins $15 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. We are live at Buffalo Wings and Rings here for March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket. This will be my final segment. Jake Sorensen from Early Break going to make a special 1-hour appearance here to round out the show with you, Strick, here on the block. I did want to bring up a few things today. Again, the big news, just rounding things up, is Deshaun Watson is being traded to Cleveland. So Cleveland no longer in need of a quarterback, which leaves the Colts, Saints, Seahawks, and the Panthers pretty much out there looking for quarterbacks. And I think the free agent list now kind of dwindles down to Jameis Winston, Marcus Mariota, Andy Dalton. It's getting pretty thin there. So I expect maybe instead of those guys, maybe Mariota starts again. But maybe some rookies will get some shots because those are not long-term solutions. But we'll just kind of see how it plays out there. This has been a wild game of kind of everybody landing and trying to grab these quarterbacks. I knew somebody's going to be left out, and those teams seem to be the teams left out. The Saints, for what it's worth, look like they're pretty close to Jameis Winston, bringing him back. At least there's familiarity there. But the Colts especially, to me, look kind of silly because they already moved on from their quarterback and are going to be out there with not much of a better deal than what they had before, probably worse situation now.
Yeah, that's probably the case. I mean, it's definitely going to be a stopgap move. They could make a ploy or a play for a Trey Lance or I don't know. They're probably going to give him a shot out there in San Francisco.
Baker Mayfield now.
There's probably going to be an opportunity for that to happen, possibly. I'm sure they're going to want somebody that has an opportunity because they weren't far off. They were right there, so it wasn't like they were bad. I mean, then they also land Ngakoue. So they've got some tough pieces out there to be able to make a run at it, but I just don't know what quarterback is going to be able to provide that kind of spark that they're looking for there. They still got good pieces, so it's going to be open to debate on how they're going to fare.
Yeah, and off the text line, someone says, "What are the Steelers going to do at quarterback?" Was hoping Watson would go there. They seem to already have their plan, at least Mason Rudolph, in place there to compete now with Mitchell Trubisky is who they signed. So it's not Deshaun Watson. I'll give you that if you're a Steelers fan out there. But it's what they're dealing with now, seemingly a stopgap situation, unless one of those guys can prove this year that they're a quarterback worth investing in. But at least you have two potential prospects there, so they're in a better position than, like I said, maybe the Saints, the Colts, the Seahawks, the Panthers. It's not the best, and probably not a long-term move for the Steelers.
The Saints are going to have an opportunity to even get like a Jameis Winston at a premium deal. Because of the injury. So that may not be a bad thing for them. Like you said, familiarity. They still have a lot of uncertainty there. So, getting him and somebody that's familiar already with the system and is comfortable that they like, but then you don't have to spend the big bag on it. That could be a good look for them.
And I did want to get your thoughts quickly, too, on Teddy Buckets last night. Teddy Allen, former Husker, threw in 37 points for New Mexico State. He was dancing with the crowd there at the end in a 70-63 victory over UConn. I said it earlier. I'll be cheering for him to go as far as he can. You know, the power of the former Husker and all that. But I have to admit, it does sting a bit as a Husker fan to see him go out and have that tournament memory when he was just on the roster last year. Of course, the narrative always was swinging once he got off the team that they were better without him. But it's hard to imagine that they got the most out of that guy when he was on campus. And altogether, you know, with that Matt Abdelmassi being let go yesterday, or mutually agreeing to part ways, I should say, is it kind of leaves you with a bit of a frustration, right? Where Delano Banton is playing regular rotation minutes now for a playoff team in Toronto. Teddy Allen's doing his thing in the NCAA tournament. Of course, Bryce McGowan's popped off this year. Do you think a big three of them, which could have potentially happened as far as their eligibility, do you think that team could have worked? Do you think there's enough ball for that sort of team?
I think they would have been pretty dangerous, and I think they could have played a lineup. I think putting Banton, even though he was playing point guard, but filling him in that lat man position to be able to guard, because he could guard. That was one thing that was good about him. He could guard, and he could guard multiple positions. So with that length, that size, him and Walker at that position, you throw Bryce at the three, Teddy at, really you don't have a point guard, but Verge and Teddy coming off the bench, to give you that scoring with him and let's see, shoot.
I mean, still have Trey McGowan's maybe.
Well, I think you probably start Trey. I think you start him with his defensive prowess. But CJ Wilcher coming off the bench with Teddy, I mean, I think that could have been dangerous. But like you said, I don't know. I think there's probably some egos in there. Sure. But I think it still could have. I think they could have made it work. I mean, but you probably needed a strong voice in the locker room, a coach, somebody that can kind of help mitigate some potential issues that could have spawned or spurned up, you know what I mean, to kind of keep everybody focused on one goal, and that's winning games. But Teddy, man, I mean, shoot, he did it in a phenomenal way. Not only 37 points, he had 3 assists with 6 rebounds. But what also turned me on was the fact that he had 13 for 13 free throws. So that was kind of an issue for him when he was at Nebraska. His free throw shooting, it was kind of inconsistent. It was in the low 70s. But then shooting 4 for 7 from 3. So he wanted it. He willed New Mexico State to that win over Connecticut. I mean, he gave them everything they wanted and everything they got. And I don't know. No one really knows the full circumstances that led to his indefinite suspension, and to what was the issue with him and why he wasn't able to stay. As I stated, I think Coach Hoiberg probably wanted or needed a voice maybe in there that can really be able to get Teddy to kind of be focused on the goal and not necessarily the issues and dealing with other players and on court and off court type issues.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, Nebraska's not the only fan base wondering what could have been. Wichita State, West Virginia, and Nebraska, all previous schools for Teddy Allen before making it to New Mexico State. So especially in that case, you don't feel like Nebraska's necessarily the problem there. But you just start to think, man, they've been able to bring some talent on, and it's not leading to wins. And so, that's kind of what the shuffle is having here. You wonder if they're going to be able to, with their new lead assistant, whoever that may be, or their new kind of recruiting plan, get that type of talent, or maybe get lesser talent that plays together better. And I think at this point for Nebraska fans, it used to be an idea of they just need NBA talent. That was the solution for a lot of Nebraska fans. I think now it's more of a realization of fit is going to have to work a lot more because they've had talented guys, but just kind of throwing them all together. I think our producer calls them an island of mismatched toys. It's kind of how the roster's felt in the last couple of years, but talented parts within there just hasn't worked.
That's a good way of saying it. A bunch of toys. you have a bunch of toys with mismatch. It was basically like a Mr. Potato Head, the old school Mr. Potato Head, where you just kind of take this piece off, throw that piece on, put that ear on, put that different nose on. It seemed like it was a lot of that. It was a bunch of pieces that they were just trying to fit together on a basic piece of a toy. So it's just getting guys to buy in. If you get guys to buy into the goal and not the individual goals, then you can make it work. I mean, talent only goes so far. And that was one of the things that my dad taught me is talent can only take you so far. It's also, you've got to hone your craft. You got to build your skill. And so those things also have to bear weight into growing and becoming something that's unique and gifted is something that's great. But like I said, it can only take you so far. Sooner or later, skill will overwhelm gift. And that's why guys can overtake the gifted, because if they're working on the skill sets that are helping them to become great.
Well, quickly before we're
i.e. Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson is but he knows what he does, and he knows what he does well, and he uses that, and he's a testament of a guy that's basically taken that in what I just said, and taking skill and overwhelming talent.
And before we're going to break it, I want to update you guys on the scores here. Texas with a 39-38 lead over Virginia Tech in the 6-11 game there out in the East region. About 16:42 to go in the second half there. Midway through the second half for Notre Dame and Alabama, the Irish now with a 10-point lead on the Crimson Tide, 57-47 in the 6-11 game out there in the West region. So that's the scores that's going on right there. I'm going to go ahead and step out for the remainder of the show, and we'll welcome in Jake Sorensen of Early Break. He'll get his chance to mix things up with you here, Strick, here in a minute. We're live out at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th&0 for March Mayhem. Come on down as it's great food, beer, and sports talk that's going on right now at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th&0. We'll be back on the block here in just a second. You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th&0 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
They say one great thing leads to another, and that's especially true when you visit a Great Clips salon. When you sit down for a haircut with the skilled and friendly stylist at one of our thousands of convenient Great Clips locations, they'll not only make your hair look great, they'll make you feel great too. And that's something you can't help but share with the world. Download our online check-in app today and opt in to get a ready next text when you're up next. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
The middle of March is here, and you know what that means. It's time to get to Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th&0 for our yearly party for the first 2 days of the NCAA tournament. Join us this Thursday and Friday for beer, food, basketball, great prizes, and sports talk. We'll be on location both days from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., and the first 64 people to stop by on Thursday get a draw for a ping pong ball with a team and the tourney on it that can lead to great prizes if that team makes the Final Four. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket this Thursday and Friday at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th&0.
Need to send a message? Send it with cake. Congratulations? Here's a congratulations chocolate rum cake from Beatrice Bakery. Thank you? Say thank you with an amaretto cake. I'm sorry that I accidentally hit your mailbox with my car as I was backing out of the driveway and then continued right into your prized petunias. You say that with a lemon drop cake. Everybody knows that. Beatrice Bakery in downtown Beatrice or online at beatricebakery.com. Here to help you say whatever it is you need to say. Welcome to our world of yum. Brown Shoe Fit is gearing up for spring with new inventory on the way. They're stocking up on new spring sandals and athletic shoes daily in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Keen, Merrell, On, and many, many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Atrax. Spring is the season to be active and busy. Don't let your feet lose their support with old rundown shoes or sandals. Stop by Brown's Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln.
March is Problem Gambling Awareness Month. If you or a loved one are struggling with addiction, contact Choices Treatment Center's 24-hour helpline at 402-476-2300 or go to choicestreatmentcenter.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric always makes safety a top priority for our home and office. And under just 1 hour, their team installed the state-of-the-art air scrubber system directly into our existing HVAC ductwork. This technology purifies the air and reduces exposure to common bacteria and viruses, creating a safer breathing environment for my family. Action delivers honest quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com. You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too. And that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is On the Block with Strickland Bach. Nebraska Basketball Hall of Famer and 9-year NBA vet, Eric Strickland.
Strickland for three. He's going to go out of here as the Big 8 tournament champion.
93.7 The Ticket veteran and Creed stan, Jake Bakovic.
I love that band, Creed.
Coming at you live from the Coppel Chevrolet GMC studios in the heart of Lincoln, America. On air and online at theticketfm.com. Sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. This is On the Block with Strickland Bach. Hold up.
Hour number 2 on the block with Strickland Bach, but I am not Bach. Bach is checking out. I am Jake Sorensen, as Bach said, from early break. That's 6 to 8 a.m. This is late for me. But Strickland from here. Eric Strickland is in the house. Strick,
what's up, my guy? It's always good to see you. You're doing well?
I'm doing well. It's good to see you as well.
No teasing today. No Iowa teasing. I don't want to hear it.
Hey, Strick, I'm going to tease Iowa all the time, my friend. That's what I do.
No, that's okay, brother. Hey, listen. I just really thought that, man, coming off of that Big Ten, championship, I thought they were hot. They were one of the hottest teams out right then. And I should have just known better. History just at this point does not tell the difference in this situation. It is just one of those things that history just repeats itself.
It feels like to me, and this is not always the case, but it feels like the team that's always seen as like not the 1 seed, but the sleeper hot team, the one that's a 5 seed, a 4 seed that won their conference tournament, that's hot. Everyone gets on them, and then they just fault right away. Their gas is gone because they've worked so hard to win their conference tournament, and then they get upset. And I didn't see it coming. I picked Iowa to win. It's against my every being that I stand for. I don't ever pick Iowa, but I did. So I'm happy they lost for myself, not for my bracket. But yeah, Strick is one of those things where I had an Elite 8.
I had 8. I had 8 too. I had at least that. But they're not my super sleeper, Jake. They weren't my super sleeper. My super sleeper is actually Purdue. I had Purdue going deep.
How far?
I think I got Purdue going to the finals.
You do? Wait, the championship or the Final Four?
I had Purdue going to the championship game, bro. If I do that, I am the guy with the greatest crystal ball probably of all time. If that pans out for me, bro, I've got the magic 8 ball working in my camp right now. If that pans out.
I hear you. No,
because I don't think nobody's picking that one.
No. And what's good for you, Strick, is the fact that Kentucky is out of that bracket. So Purdue now has a clear line. Purdue just walloped on Yale today. They look really good. You got Texas and Virginia Tech right now. It's a close game. Texas up by 7, 49-42 with 13:30 to go. They look good right now. But so if Purdue gets past the winner of that game, then you got to beat the winner of Murray State versus St. Peter's, a 7 and a 15 seed. And then Baylor looked good against Norfolk State. That's probably the weakest one right now. So I feel like, Strick, I did not pick Purdue myself to the Final Four, but their path got really easy, if it can be such thing in the tournament with the Kentucky loss last night.
I thought that was probably, when waking up today, that was probably the biggest mind blow that I had when I looked at final scores. I was dumbfounded. There was just no way that I thought that was going to happen. But Ty Washington struggled. The only one really that came up big was the big fella. You know what I mean? He's the only one that really stepped up. I think he had like 30. So he's the only one that really showed improved.
Sheboy, whatever his last name is.
Sheboy.
Sheboy.
I'd be trying not to. I'll let you do that, Jake, because I'll be trying not to mess up.
Man, I don't watch a lot of Kentucky basketball, but it's got to be Sheboy. If I'm wrong on that, then I'll get taken to task. That's fine. It happens all the time. But that's
they're calling. There a lot of blue bloods are calling for the head of Rick Pitino at this particular point. They're just saying he just totally got outcoached. A $100,000 coach just blew away an almost $10 million coach and really outcoached him. That's what they were saying.
But stay right there, because we see all the time in the dance. We saw Tony Bennett at Virginia get beat by a 16 seed by 20 points. The next year he wins the whole dang thing. So great redemption there. I mean, you understand as a player, who's played in the tournament before and has seen, seen how this goes. The ridiculous nature of people calling for Calipari to depart ways with Kentucky is crazy, right? Now, that guy's they were a 2 seed. Take a step back and realize you were a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament. If you want to fire a coach,
that means you had success in your SEC season, right? Right.
That's crazy.
I think it is crazy. He's been a great recruiter. I think he's done a good job over the years. I don't think he's gotten complacent in any way. I just think sometimes you run into a buzzsaw. I mean, a lot of these lower seeded teams, man, they have chips on their shoulders. I mean, they're basically like, you overlooked me. No one gave me a shot. Well, I'm going to give you a shot of this adrenaline in your, with these eyeball sandwiches I'm about to give you. I mean, just look at what St. Mary's did. I mean, they freaking look like they look like they were. They look like they can beat just about anybody in the tournament. I mean, the way they played last night. So listen, kudos to those guys. Kudos to those conferences that they say just don't measure up. It just seems like the Big Ten always has top to bottom quality teams, but just don't have a top heavy team that has that type of domination like you see in the SEC or like you see in the SEC or even in the Pac-12. They just don't seem to have that. And when they get into the tournaments, for me, other than, some Michigan State runs over the years.
Yep, they've had some.
Yeah, they've had a few that made some good runs. Yeah, and other than that, but when you go down the whole gauntlet, I mean, a lot of those other teams that have these good high ratings in the tournament, they end up going out early, like within the second round. And then that team ends up making a good, strong run, but you don't see a lot of them deep into the 8, or you don't see a lot of them even in the 16. And I think that's what's been the problem. And even with me, I only one I bought the bullet on is Purdue and Iowa, and I didn't even buy it. I didn't buy in on Ohio State or even Wisconsin, but it's very possible. We'll see how they play tonight.
Yeah, and speaking of Ohio State, so they had the first game today, and boy, was that a boring game. Now, I know you love defense, Strick. I love defense too. I respect it, but that game was just a bunch of bricks and 54-41. I mean, Loyola Chicago has been a darling of the dance with Porter Mosier, who's now at Oklahoma, a new head coach as he left there this past offseason. Still, I think, Loyola Chicago was a favorite as a 10 seed because Ohio State had been falling apart to end the season. They didn't have, they had a couple players out with injury. And so, it was a trendy, popular pick to pick Loyola. But, man, that was a disgusting game to start the day. 41 points for Loyola Chicago in their loss today.
Oof. I mean, it was Brick City. I mean, they say Russell Westbrook, but it was Brick City. I mean, they just couldn't find the basket. It was one of those type of nights. But hey, the key to the game is winning the game. So they did what they had to do to win the game. And so that's the best thing that you can say about it. I mean, we'll see how they kind of pan out coming out of that win. How they fare, and hopefully they can, buy a bucket coming into the next game. We'll see.
Yeah, again, so we got some games coming up here tonight. It's a packed lineup of action. So if you're trying to come out here and watch some basketball, here's what you got, Strick. You want the lineup the rest of the day? You want the games coming up?
Yeah, tell me about it, man. The one I'm interested in is that Illinois Chattanooga one. But go ahead.
Well, that's going to be okay. So we're going to have there's going to be a little break in the action soon. But that game, Chattanooga 13 seed versus Illinois, the 4 seed. That's at 5:50 p.m. That's going to be on TNT. Okay, so you're talking about the Big Ten, Strick, and you picked Purdue to go far, and other teams are Iowa's obviously out, Ohio State's still in, Michigan's still in. So Illinois, what's your read on them? Because their draw is if they beat Chattanooga, it's not a gimme, they're going to play the winner of Houston and UAB, and then that would set up probably a matchup against Arizona or the winner of Seton Hall and TCU. Are you in on Illinois or are you out? Like I am.
I'm out.
You're out. All right, man.
I'm out.
Why are you out?
I'm so far out that I've got UAB clipping them, and I've got them basically being able to get by this one. I just think their size. I think the big fella is just too strong inside. I think
Kofi Coburn.
I think Kofi. Yeah, I think Kofi is he's a big monster. I think against Chattanooga, I just don't know. It's going to provide them a lot of shooting opportunities. If they hit shots tonight, they'll win. I think UAB will give them. They're a very athletic team. They're a team that can get after you defensively. They're scrappy, so they're not going to just let Kofi Coburn just do what he wants on the inside. I've seen them be able to put. They're very fundamental on different box out and securing rebounds and possessions and so forth and so on. So I actually got them clipping them, but hey, I could be wrong. Illinois could shock me. I just don't see it. I still just not bought in on Illinois right now.
And you know what Strick. I want to stay right here on this because this has been a hot rumor over the last week, and I'm curious what you think. And this comes back to players who played at a certain college and go other places. I'm talking about Brad Underwood. Brad Underwood is the head coach of Illinois, came from Stephen F. Austin in Oklahoma State. But you know where he went to college? Kansas State, who just fired Bruce Weber.
Ooh.
In your opinion, is there any, is Kansas State anywhere close to the same level as of a prestigious job as Illinois? And if not, would he make the leap to go back? Because that right now is their top target is Brad Underwood of Illinois for Kansas State for their opening.
I think he could listen. Those Kansas State teams in the mid like after 2010, they were actually
Michael
pretty
Beasley.
good. Yeah, they were actually pretty good. And I think you can do some things in Kansas State. It's not like it's a bad place. It's not a tough recruit. You've got great players in those regions that you can go and get and really you just have to have a good recruiting group and of coaches to be able to bring them in there. But having an Illinois base that he has right now to be able to maybe pull some Chicago. That's what they've done. That's basically what Manhattan in Kansas State they were doing. They were pulling some of those Chicago kids down there and getting it cracking. And so I think that may be an interesting move. I think Illinois. It's old days was solid. I just don't know if they have that same swag that they used to have pulling people in there. I just don't think they have in Champaign.
This is interesting because I'm 30 years old. This is probably when I was in high school when this happened. I look back at it now and I'm just still stunned that Kansas State, like you mentioned, Strick there. They had that run in the late 2000s, early 2010s. I still am fascinated that they got Bob Huggins to even coach there. They go from Jim Woolridge, who's a no-name, and they're bottom feeders, to all of a sudden, here's Bob Huggins, and here's Michael Beasley, and here's Bill Walker, and here's Jacob Poland, and Angel Rodriguez. Like all these, how did that even happen? It's amazing that they got Bob freaking Huggins to go to Kansas State for any period of time. I'm still shocked by that 15 years later.
Yes, I'm dumbfounded by that. That was an interesting move for me, but Bob Huggins is a tremendous coach.
He is.
I think he's done a great job. Not just everywhere he's gone, he's been able to land the right type of people to fit what he's trying to do and what he's trying to accomplish in whatever system he puts together, wherever that system is. So, but yeah, I think that could be an interest. That's a great point. I really didn't think about that, but yeah, man. I mean, low key, depending on what I think. To be honest, Jake, I think it's going to depend on what type of run they have in this tournament. I think that's going to tell a lot about what that move could be like. If they go deep and they get maybe to the 8, then he may put a pause on it. I think that would be an odd move at that point. But I think if they get knocked out early and they get popped, I think it might be one of those things where you might want to make a transition.
Moving on to a game at 6:10 tonight. This will be on CBS. Now, this has been a good year in terms of the record and the ranking for Coach K at Duke in his final years before John Shire takes over there. But you've seen some interesting ends of seasons and tournaments. So the last game at home, Duke gets boat raced by North Carolina, gives up 94 points. Coach K apologizes to the fans, saying this is not acceptable. ACC tournament, you think, this would be a great way for Coach K to go out and be a champion. They get boat raced by Virginia Tech, who is playing right now against Texas in the tournament. So I kind of get that vibe, Strick, that Duke's a 2 seed. They're going to beat Cal State Fullerton tonight. They have lost before as a 2 seed to Lehigh back in, I think, 2012. So they are prone to upset in the first round. But I want your thoughts. This Duke team, of course, Paulo Banchero is an excellent player, and they're a good team as a 2 seed. But do you get the feeling they're going to go far, or do you think they kind of keep the trend going of a disappointing end of the season, as we've seen in the Carolina result and the ACC tournament result?
I'm totally not bought in Michigan State. I think Michigan State, they got a tough one against Davidson. Davidson's not a walkover. Yep. So that's not one that I can say. I would say Duke has a better opportunity against Davidson. Obviously, that would kind of be a rivalry type of situation for them, being it's in state. But listen, I love Trelly, and I'm pushing for CSU Fullerton. One of my close friends, Cedric Sabalas and Trelly, I'm pulling for them. Cedric, I talked to him not too long ago. He's very excited about them getting back into the dance. They went in and won their tournament. They, obviously they don't have the same athleticism, but they've got some guys with chips on their shoulders too. I see Duke able to get pretty much to Texas Tech. I think when I look at the matchup cross board, I think they can get past there. I just don't see them if they get past that going past Gonzaga. I just don't think they could.
Gonzaga, gosh, I mean, even them yesterday, their first 30 minutes were really uninspiring. Had a very minimal halftime lead. It was still competitive through the basically the second half. Then they pull away, win by 20-plus points. But they got a tough one against Memphis, who looked really good against Boise State. They'll play that game tomorrow, of course, in the second round of the round of 32. Let me ask you this, Strick. So Arizona has not played yet. Arizona will play Wright State tonight at some point. They play actually at 6:30, that game on True TV. Of the 1 seeds, Arizona's going to advance most likely. But of the 1 seeds playing the second round, which of these teams is most prone to an upset? Okay, I'm going to give you the matchups.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Gonzaga versus Memphis.
Mm-hmm.
Baylor versus North Carolina, who just walloped Marquette in the first round by 30 points. Kansas versus Creighton. And then likely Arizona versus either Seton Hall or TCU. There has been times where a 1 seed has lost in the second round, including last year where Illinois lost to Loyola Chicago in the second round. Which of those matchups do you think is more prone to a 1 seed going down tomorrow or Sunday?
Number 1 out of the East, I would say Baylor, North Carolina first. And
I agree.
I would think that would be the one for me. And then secondarily, I would look at Kansas Creighton.
Okay.
I would say those ones for me. Kansas, just for some reason, they seem to always get there, and they just let me down. And I don't see nothing that tells me that they're going to be able to do anything different at this point. I do got them going to the 8. Then I have them getting clipped by Auburn, but yeah,
Auburn was tough today.
Yeah, Auburn looked tough. They looked tough today. But yeah, those are my 1 and 2s. I think those are the two for me out of the East and out of the Midwest, with Creighton and Kansas being second, my second choice, but definitely North Carolina and Baylor. North Carolina.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No. That's it.
I feel like, so I think if they were healthy, I'd give Creighton a chance tomorrow against Kansas. Because Kansas, like you just said, Strick, they seem like they're beatable. They're good, but they're not incredible.
Right.
If Creighton had Nemhard, the point guard, and didn't get Kalkbrenner get hurt late in that game, which they won against San Diego State, I'd give them a chance. But they have such a lack of depth right now. These guys are playing 45 minutes in the game against San Diego State. They're going to be tired.
Facts.
That's why I can't give them. But if they had both those guys, Nemhard and Kalkbrenner, I could really see them giving them a scare tomorrow, but that's not going to be the case.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Jake, that the depth is the thing for me that gives me some pause. But that was the one that I would have seen, being that all the circumstances were in order. But yeah, I don't too much envision that. The one that kind of tricked me a little bit, and it didn't actually trick me because they came back. Is at first I was a little scared at what was going on, but I felt that Alabama just was gonna fall apart. For me, I just felt Notre Dame, and look what happened. This is exactly how I saw it, how I envisioned it. So
here's your update. Notre Dame, the 11 seed that beat Rutgers on Wednesday in the tournament, the first four, is going to blow out Alabama. There's a minute 24 to go. Notre Dame, the 11 seeds, up 76-60. Here's the thing, Strick. There's always a team in that first four. It's never a 16 seed. It's either 11 or a 12. And Indiana beats, Wyoming on Tuesday. They get thrashed by St. Mary's, so they weren't the answer. You had to expect Notre Dame, because a first four team always does something in the dance, to be that team. And today they proved that is the case. They're going to go the second round and play the Texas Tech, who also walloped Montana State today.
Yeah, and listen, Notre Dame is just so fundamentally sound. They just keep plugging. They're not sexy. They're not the team that for me is just real sexy when you watch them. They just kind of plug along. They're going to do everything right. They're going to make the right plays. They're going to defensively take charges. They're going to box out, secure rebounds, secure possessions. Not going to actually be prone to super turnover nights. And so they're as long as they stay the course, they're going to put themselves in a chance, give themselves a chance to win games. And that's what happened. I mean, they ended up needing to go on like a 17-5 run just to put them down 7 or 8 points. Yep. And then they ended up turning that around and making it almost a 10-point win. So it's like, yeah, man, they're just one of those type of teams, man, that they're going to be fundamentally sound. If they stay healthy, they're going to put themselves in a chance, give themselves a chance to win. They shoot the ball pretty good. They've got solid inside play. Like I say, there's nothing sexy about them, but they're just solid.
So your other game going on, Notre Dame's about to beat Alabama. They're up 76-62 with 1:12 to go. The other game going on, Strick, Texas, the 6th seed with Chris Beard, the head coach, up 61-47, about 7 minutes to go in that ball game against Virginia Tech, who had just won the ACC tournament. This is the thing that I'm curious about, because, everyone viewed Shaka Smart as this incredible coach that was going to be successful wherever he went when he was at VCU. And he goes to Texas and fails.
Garbage.
Right. Garbage. Then
garbage. Like not even good, Jake. Garbage.
I know. So he gets fired. So he leaves leaves Texas, goes to Marquette. Marquette makes the dance as a 9 seed, gets blasted by Carolina yesterday. But I think there was a connection being made, say, hey, is there going to be a comparison of Chris Beard to Shaka Smart? And I think what gets lost in that is the fact that Chris Beard did it already at a Big 12 school, not a VCU, not a small conference. But he did it. He did it at the Big 12 with Texas Tech, going to the championship game and losing to Virginia. Texas is usually one of those teams that folds in the tournament, but it's the Chris Beard factor. You know that there's coaches that just make it happen, and Chris Beard is that dude.
Yeah, and that's a big pickup for Texas. I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, getting Chris Beard was huge for Texas and their program, because their program was in shambles. I mean, it was looking really ugly after the Shaka school. And it wasn't that Shaka didn't get talent in there. I mean, he was able to get talent. They had that. It just, I don't know, man. I'm questioning. Is it his coaching? Is it his inspiration? What is it about him?
Because he's got hair now. He's got hair. He grew a hair. I'm telling you, dude. Sometimes bald head Shaka. Bald head Shaka is a winner. Hair Shaka is just like one and done.
One and done.
There's got to be something to it. There's got to be something to it.
Something to it, man. Yeah, he works the opposite way of what Samson worked in the Bible. Samson needed his hair, and Shaka doesn't need it. So yeah, man, he needs to go back to
Oppo Samson. Yeah, but Marquette. I mean, again, they made the dance, but they got blown out. But I don't know. The comparison of Chris Beard and Shaka Smart needs to stop. Chris Beard is a better coach, and he's done it at a Power 5 level. Shaka Smart, again, makes a dance, but ugly performance yesterday in a loss to Carolina. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back. We'll give you another update on the scores going around in the tournament as we kind of hit that lull in action before we get to game starting around 5:50. But we will be back with more at Buffalo Wings and Rings for March Mayhem. This is On the Block on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Shopping for insurance can be a tedious and frustrating task, but the agents at Brokers Insurance Agency will do the work for you. They have partnered with over 20 of the best insurance carriers in the nation, which allows them to do the shopping all for you. Whether you're looking for business insurance or employee benefits for your company, or you're looking to save money on your home and auto insurance, Brokers Insurance Agency has the agents and solutions to help meet your goals. Call 402-420-5353 or email staff at brokersinsurancene.com.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete.
Sun Valley Lanes and Games is now offering spring sand volleyball leagues. Sand volleyball leagues are 9 weeks long beginning April 3rd. Registration is available online at sunvalleylanes.com. Use the promo code 93.7 to save 5%. That's sunvalleylanes.com, promo code 93.7. Volleyball not your thing? They also offer fun cornhole and bowling leagues. Visit sunvalleylanes.com for complete details.
Lincoln's best place to meet, eat, and compete. Sun Valley.
Work, laundry, dishes. I was exhausted. I needed a vacation, but finding a way to pay for it, not so easy. Then I found it, a research study at Solarion. I searched the studies and found a perfect match for me. It was so easy. I earned cash for the study and booked that vacation. Plus, I made an impact on medical research. Find a study and sign up today at healthresearch.com.
You should consider the risks of the research before you agree to participate.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
Every time the back door closes, it squeaks and reminds me of how I used to go out back for a cigarette 2-3 times a day. When I was stressed, when I was hungry, when I was bored. But then I think of how the stale taste lingered in my mouth, and I reach into my purse and pop a stick of gum. And the craving is gone.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Water heater gone? Call Bryant. The price you're quoted is the price you'll pay. And in most cases, same-day replacement. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111.
Mike Schaefer here for Trek CBD. Springtime is here, and that means you're outside more in nice weather and maybe even having garage parties with neighbors. The drink of this spring and summer isn't your typical seltzer. It's drinkable Delta 8. Yep, Trek CBD has drinkable Delta 8 seltzers with mango and lime flavors for 4-packs and 12-packs, coming in a variety of mango, watermelon, lime, and berry. They also have hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups to put in your beverages, and as always, the excellent Delta 8 gummies. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at freedmanlaw.com today.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, we are on the block. The Strick and Bach. Bach is out. I am in. Jake Sorensen, Eric Strickland with me as well. We have about a half hour to go. I am live at Buffalo Wings and Rings. Strick is not, but you are here with us in spirit, my friend. Am I right?
You're absolutely right. I'm sure it's pretty sunny out there like it is.
You here. Yeah,
I'm sure it's pretty sunny out there. They can hear me out there.
They can hear. Yeah, you aren't here, but you are heard here, so that is good enough to me.
Listen, man, I wish I could be there. I really do. I've been working on a couple of projects that we've been building, a commercial project as well as a residential multi-use project. So it's kind of had me tied up, especially since Tim, the owner, my partner, he was out of town, so I had to kind of take care of a lot more responsibilities while he was gone. So it left me with an opportunity not to be able to be there. But I always look forward, and I love getting back home to Nebraska. Obviously, we've had some shakeups that are going on. I basically figured it would be two. Most people were saying, well, what's going to happen? It did fall to two. I don't think there's going to be more than that. I think it was going to be two coaches that were probably going to fall with Fred. And we obviously saw that with Matt Abdelmassih and with Doc Sadler. The Doc Sadler situation was just a position change. It just was not going to be renewed. But Matt Abdelmassih, obviously, I think they wanted to make a change, Jake. I think they just wanted to there was a system, there was a method that they were operating under, and it just wasn't. And I told Bach on the last segment before he left, I said it reminded me of like Mr. Potato Head, where you have the potato head, and it was just like you stick a bunch of pieces into the head that just didn't form and shape. You know what I mean? I'm looking for Fred to have that Voltron experience. You I don't know if you were old enough to remember Voltron.
Heard that before.
Okay, so I'm an old school guy. So Voltron was like, it was 5 individual lions, and these specific lions would come together to form just this huge megabot. And they would basically use all their individual skills, all their powers, and they would come together and unite those powers to be able to defeat bigger and better foes. And that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a Voltron experience. I'm not looking for a Mr. Potato Head experience anymore. That just didn't seem to work. If you put a bunch of those pieces together on a Mr. Potato Head, he looks like a mess. You know what I mean? He looks funny. He looks funky. But it's only when they mesh, when the ears match, and when the nose kind of fits the mold, and when the lips kind of come together, the eyes are not bulgy and crazy looking. He looks all right. Right now, it's looked like a mess potato head, and I need a Voltron.
Yeah. I like that analogy. It's beautiful. It's well done. So I guess, Strick, then the question is, so if you're Nebraska, obviously Fred Hoiberg is a guy that has connections. He was in the NBA as in the front office with the T-Wolves. Then he coached at Iowa State for several years, and he goes to the Bulls as the head coach. No one is denying the fact that Fred Hoiberg has connections. The question becomes, Matt Abdelmassih, for all his faults, was good at acquiring talent. Like you said, though, it didn't mesh together.
Yeah.
Now, can you still attract that elite talent and be able to assess it better and to make it mesh? And if so, where do you think Hoiberg goes? I'm not asking for a particular name, but do you go back to the NBA? Do you go to college? Where do you think Hoiberg tries to go to try to take on that role, or do you think that the staff more together, collectively recruits, because it was basically just
Matt. He was the only one. And so that was the conversation I had with Bach. So it is two ways to this answer for me. One of them is we talked about how the transition of that works, right? Matt Abdelmassi, he brings in the talent, but he didn't actually work with the talent that was brought in. So therefore, it was a handoff. And so sometimes when a guy brings in, there's a relationship, there's a bond that's built in those moments when you're dealing in the recruiting process, right? And so then it's handed off. So the handoff sometimes is not necessarily like when you're running track, when you're running the 400, right? I mean the 100, 1x400. Oh no, wait, what am I? 4x100.
4x1.
There's a transition point where it must be made with the baton, and that baton must be clean in order for the race to be successful. And sometimes those handoffs are not necessarily good because you're getting players now that have to build new relationships because Matt's gone. Matt's there sometimes. Most of the times he's out trying to make it happen, which is good. Sometimes that works for you. But then those bonds may not actually work in the transition of the handoff, right? And so therefore it can become a mismatch of relationships. And therefore those guys may say, hey, this ain't for me. I may want to go somewhere else. And this ain't working for me. This ain't what I thought. And so those transitions may not work. Now, I'm thinking, as you said, they must have a holistic approach, I think, to
I'm sure they do.
I think they need to be able to tap into the areas of their strengths, to go to the places where they have strength and be able to branch out into areas where they maybe have relationships that they can maybe establish a relationship with a young player that they may like. In my company at Cerebral Sports, that's one of the things that we do, Jake. We basically help players. Right now, the system is built for machine gun firing, right? You go to AAU games, you're there for 8 hours, you're watching specific courts, but there's a lot of other stuff going on, i.e. how Ja Morant's found, right? And by Murray State. So there's a bunch of other courts going on. You don't really get to see the full potentials of talent that is there working. You get to see bits and pieces. You're listening to recruiting people in the different areas. They're telling you, they're pumping it up. You don't know if it's a biased approach to the pump or if the parents paid you to say, hey, you need to really look at this guy. You don't know what that system is. What we do, man, is we help you to basically target your approach. So that's what I'm thinking they need to do. They need to have a targeted approach. They need to know what they want for their system, what type of player they want for their system. And that's what I talked about. They need a beast, like a rebound, like somebody that's just going to come in and just take control of the paint, i.e. Rodman style, i.e. a Ben Wallace type.
They're hard to find.
They're hard to find, but they're out there. And most people overlook them because they only have a specific skill set. But that skill set is needed for a Nebraska type that can defend, hone the paint, and just absolutely dominate everything within the paint. That's what they need. And they need to be able to secure and find the piece that they need in out there. And sometimes it may not be in the specific AAU tournament that they're at. It may not be from the recruiting coordinators that they know around the country. It may be just that you can get on a computer like you can do in our system and find a type, an archetype, a specific type of guard. You're looking for a 3-and-D type of guy. You're looking for that rebounder guy. You can find him.
So you think you can shop for a guy, but you think it's fine to shop for a guy then?
Yes. And so that's what I was telling him. I said, that's what our system does. If you're looking for that, you may not know, you may not see him on the court when you go to the AAU game, but you may be able to track this guy because we have a database full of just players in it with their numbers and also gradings in the system that you can say, I'm looking for this specific guy. Now you can go and target and find what you're actually looking for. So that's what I think they need to do. Find what they want, fit the piece that fits for what they need, and go and get those types of guys that fit the culture that they're trying to build.
Yeah, and you always have people out there saying, Strick, that hey, look at this tournament right now. There's guys that are from the state playing all over the tournament. You got a Rope that was playing out at San Diego State. You had 3 guys at South Dakota State. Now those teams both lost, but still, Baylor Shireman had 16 points a game at South Dakota State this year, and Charlie Easley came from Nebraska, played here as a walk-on. goes out there, averages 7 a game. I mean, there is talent here. And you look at the guy who did make the dance, but it just went to the portal, Sam Griesel up at North Dakota State.
Yeah.
From down the road of Buffalo Wings and Rings at Lincoln East, I mean, less than a mile away. I could hit a golf ball that far if it had the right wind behind me.
Good size, point guard-ish.
He's averaging 13 points a game. And if that guy can't come here, and it sounds like he's interested, if they don't get him, I don't understand what they're doing.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And let me go back, because I mean I can talk about this now. I tried to hold myself. So there was a time when I was actually coaching, and I just finished up coaching Division II down at New Mexico Highlands, and I had established relationships with 3 guys that have now played in the professional league. I had a relationship. We went to college with. I went to high school with Justin Patton's mom. I was helping to mentor them. I told Coach Miles about Justin Patton, and I said, "Listen, bro, I can bring him." And I'm trying to get on his staff. I'm trying to basically say, "Hey, let me help you. I want to help you. I'm not going to come in and try to usurp you. I want to help the program." I said. He basically told me that, no, not interested. I don't think he can play in the league. And I said, if you get him in a Husker Power weight room, he's raw, but he's got skill sets, good hands. He can go both ways. I said, man, you're going to love this kid. I said, okay, that's one pass. I said, listen, go get this kid, Kyrie Thomas. This kid is a lockdown defender. He can get anywhere he wants. Yes, he doesn't shoot the ball consistently right now, but he works at it. You can work on that. You can help him to get that. He goes up to Creighton and busts our tail every freaking year.
Sure did.
That's another one that I had. Then the last one goes out to Nevada, helps them run deep into the NCAA tournament, which is Trayshawn Thurman.
Yep.
I was in relationship talking with his dad regularly. Basically, hopefully, me and his dad was having some communications. Man, if I went down to Nebraska, man, he'd consider sending his son to me. Blah, blah, blah. Pass. All of these, and this is what you're seeing right now. Yep. Chucky Hepburn going out to his lead. You need a point guard.
A point guard. It's a freshman point guard.
He's there. You know what I mean? Obviously, Saint hasn't had a chance to really get acclimated yet there at Loyola. Freaking Trelly's doing good down there at Cal State Fullerton. He's in the dance. They're going to play Duke. And as you said, you alluded to some others.
Baylor Shireman averaging 16 a game at South Dakota State.
We're letting them get away. And listen, I can't fault them, because what they're looking at, you've got to be able to sell it. This is why I say, I'm not saying me, I'm not saying anybody else. This is why I think you have to have somebody near to the program that can help retell the story. You remember Ty Webster?
Heck yeah, I do.
Ty Webster doesn't come if it's not for Stricky.
Is that right?
His dad was they were not coming. But what I was able to do in a conversation, I just happened to be sitting next to him at a game. It wasn't anything, fixed or fixated or, any tampering or anything. I just happened to be sitting next to him during the game, and we started talking, and he taps him and he's like, Strick, be honest with me. Why should I send my son here? and I sold it to him. I told him a story. I told him, I laid it out for him, different scenarios, what I did, how it felt for me, all of these things. And he basically said, okay, man, thank you. I appreciate it.
And Ty's story was not always good. That in the world of transfers, maybe he doesn't stick around. And in today's day and age, with one and done, and guys going to have a free year, but he stuck around after first couple rough years in his third and fourth years. His fourth year, averages 16, 17 points a game. He was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's a great development story of somebody, and he's still playing your professional ball over there in New Zealand, and it's good to see that.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Courtesy of Strick. I love it. All right, we got to take one last break. We'll come out here and give you an update on the tournament, some final scores and games coming up. That is one last time from Buffalo Wings and Rings for On the Block here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill has 2 Lincoln locations that are great for any occasion. If you're downtown for a basketball game or a concert, stop by their newest spot at 10th and P. Don't forget to check out their social media pages to learn about any concerts on stage at Rosie's. If you want to avoid a busy downtown scene, head over to the original Rosie's just south of 14th and Highway 2 for a feeling of your local hometown bar. There's plenty of TVs at both places and great food and drink. What are you waiting for? Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill at 10th and B and on South 14th Street.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 330 North 48th Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
You hear that? That's the sound of extremely tender and delicious beef from certified Piedmontese. Prime grade tenderness with a fraction of the fat and calories of normal beef. It's Nebraska-raised product and the official beef of Nebraska Athletics. Change the way you buy beef today at the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Just north of 84th and Havelock, or at cpmercado.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC. And things have obviously been pretty challenging lately with new vehicles, with all the microchip and supply chain issues, but things continue to loosen up as Koppel gets more and more new vehicles in each and every week. We've had many customers also custom order their vehicles. So if you don't see what you want in our current inventory, we can put an order in to get exactly what you want. So go online, reserve your new vehicle at koppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by Security First Bank, a relationship you can count on.
A rain-snow mix will be possible this morning, then gradually moving out of the region. We may even break into some sunshine by late this afternoon, topping out at around 51 with north winds gusting over 20. Tonight, mainly clear, low dropping down to 28. A beautiful Saturday on the way, sunny with a high of 64. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You want to feel important. You want to be a part of something bigger, something that matters and can help change things. You want to feel like you belong. We know. We felt that way too, and that's why we did something about it. We aren't just Army National Guard soldiers. We are normal people just like you. But our part-time service in the Army National Guard means we get to be more. When our communities are in need, we get the chance to stand up and do something about it. We get to serve in our own region and help the people we call neighbors. Whether they are in the mountains of New Mexico, the plains of Nebraska and Kansas, the ranches of Oklahoma and Texas, the farmlands of Missouri and Arkansas, or the bayous of Louisiana, we are here for our hometowns. And together, we can make a difference. Take on your legacy. Visit NationalGuard.com to find out more.
Sponsored by the Nebraska Army National Guard. Aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association at this station.
Koppel Insurance Agency says, accidents happen, but if you're texting and driving, you are an accident waiting to happen. Drive safely and stay alert so our children don't get hurt. This message has been brought to you by Koppel Insurance Agency. If you're looking for insurance, call 402-475-3213. They are honest and fair. For a solid insurance program, Koppel Insurance Agency wishing all a safe spring. Make it that way by driving carefully.
You're listening to coverage of the NCAA tournament live from Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to On the Block with Strick and Bach on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
The final segment of On the Block here on a Friday. Again, Bach has checked out. He is on his way to Omaha. I'm Jake Sorensen in for the final hour with Eric Strickland. One game still in progress before we get to our 5:50 game. Start up here in a second. Texas gonna look like they're gonna beat Virginia Tech. They are up 75-62 with 1:12 to go. Chris Beard, the tournament man, getting it done for the Horns.
I shouldn't have bet against them. I did. That was Jake. That was a what's the word I can say for that one? That was like one of those your homeboy, your buddy is made it. Ace Custis, who I played with in Dallas and with Davonte, and we spent some time in the NBA together. I was rolling with Ace in the Virginia Tech Hokies, and shouldn't have bet against Beard. Shouldn't have bet against Beard.
I'm going to say the team that has looked the best today, there's been a couple options. Texas has looked really good. A game that was never, ever, ever competitive from the first second to the final second. Texas Tech obliterated Montana State by like 35 points. I mean, it was 30-9 at one point in that game. Never close. They looked awesome. I like they'll play Notre Dame, who looked really good against Bama today in that one. Let me ask you, Strick. I'm sure you filled the bracket. Did you have any double-digit seeds going far? Did you have a Cinderella you liked at all this year?
Let's see who I got as my Cinderella. Who is my girl? I had no.
Nobody.
No. Let me
you
see.
went all chalk? Are you a chalk guy, Strick, in the bracket? Come on, man. You got to have a little fun.
No,
with that.
I did have some. Okay, no LSU. Okay, boom. No. Oh, UAB.
How
UAB.
far you got them going? How far?
Elite Eight.
You got them beating Arizona?
No, I got them.
That's Sweet 16.
Oh yeah, Sweet 16. I got them going to 16.
See, I got Houston beating them in this, but don't go. I think I had probably the worst day you could ever have yesterday. Now I'm talking about first round. I didn't lose. I lost one Elite Eight team in Iowa, but Strick, it is really hard when you've got 3 1 seeds playing to go 8-8 on your bracket, and that's exactly what I did yesterday. That is so bad. I mean, that is terrible.
Man,
terrible. Today's been better, but
mine was bad too. Mine was pretty bad, but then I had some that panned out for me. I don't know. I should have went against Teddy Buckets. How
dare you? Can't go against Teddy Buckets.
I should have went against Teddy Buckets.
I did.
I did
also.
too.
You know what? And you know what? When I made that pick, I felt bad about it. I said, he's going to win. Like, what are you doing, you moron? That was to myself. I said, he's going to win that game.
Yeah.
And I picked, but I picked the wrong one. So I picked UConn and I had Vermont. I love Vermont. Vermont has been so good this year. And they fought against Arkansas, lost by 4 last night. But,
I had Vermont too. I had Vermont.
I know. The Catamounts, my man, my guy.
I thought they were going to do. No, they played them tough though. I mean, it wasn't like it was a walkover. Now it
wasn't. No, they played them tough. Vermont's a good team. I stand by it. They lost though. So you're going to have again tipping off here shortly. Looks like they're about to tip off Illinois and Chattanooga. 6:10 Cal State Fullerton and Duke at 7:20 on TBS. 6:20 on TBS. You got Iowa State. I saw a couple Cyclone fans walking in here, so I know that they're represented here in Lincoln apparently. Iowa State versus LSU, 6:30. You got Wright State versus Arizona on True TV. 8:20. UAB, Strick's upset Cinderella pick for the Sweet 16 against 5-seed Houston and TNT. 8:40. You got 10-seed Davidson, a popular upset pick against 7-seed Michigan State on CBS. 8:50. I got to tell you, you're going to laugh at me, Strick. You're going to laugh at me.
You went with Colgate. I know you did.
I went with the toothpaste, Colgate.
I know you did. I already knew before you even opened your mouth. I said, he went with Colgate.
I went with Colgate.
I got LSU clipping them, though. I got LSU. Go ahead.
I've got Colgate beating Wisconsin because I saw Wisconsin play the last few weeks, and Davis is not completely healthy. Got banged up against Nebraska. Nebraska beats them on their home court without Bryce McGowan's, with foul trouble. I mean, this is a bad Nebraska team, and the fact they did that, then they lose to Michigan State in the Big Ten tournament. I just don't like the way they're entering the tournament. Mm-hmm. Colgate's a good shooting team. They put up a lot of points. If they don't win this game, it's going to be really close. It's going to be very uncomfortable. I'm picking Colgate to win as my biggest upset of the entire tournament, although St. Peter's already did that with the 15 seed. My personal bracket is the 14 seed. Do not be shocked, Strick. I said it all week long. If Colgate at 8:50 tonight, tip it off, has a late night win against the Badgers of Wisconsin.
I'm going to be watching that one. I'm going to be watching it. I don't think you're crazy. They are in the top 5 of 3-point shooting. So if they get hot, anything can happen.
There you go.
And what I'm interested in watching is Wisconsin going to play like Iowa played? They played with no passion, no fire, no desire. They didn't look like they even was on the court. It was just a bunch of lackadaisical. I was very perturbed at what I saw with Iowa, and I'm just watching to see if Wisconsin's going to duplicate that.
The last game tonight, tipping off right around 9 o'clock, 9 seed TCU and 8 seed Seton Hall. That's going to be on True TV. So good games tonight coming up. Strick's got UAB as his Cinderella to the Sweet 16. I've got Colgate beating Wisconsin. I don't have much drama tonight, mostly chalk besides Davidson and Colgate. That's it in terms of my upsets. But I've always said this, Strick, and I stand by this. Upsets are always greater than your dumb bracket. Always cheer for the chaos, right? The chaos is what makes it. No one cares about your bracket. It's for your personal good. But the upsets will always, like last night, people got destroyed by Kentucky losing to St. Peter's. I don't care. I like the carnage. I like seeing people dismayed and watching a great story for basketball. The Peacocks. The Peacocks.
Yes, I would have to agree. I think the next one that I'm watching, though, is I'm really interested on Saturday watching this St. Mary's and UCLA game down there in the East. I'm interested to see that one. Yes.
Yeah, explain that to me, Strick. Okay, those are two West Coast teams playing in the East. St. Mary's is what? Are they California? Is that where
they're up? They're Northern Cali.
And obviously UCLA is LA, and they're in the East bracket. I don't understand. I don't get that. I don't get that at all.
Yeah, man. Makes the long trip. That's a long flight.
Makes no sense. So, again, that'll do it for us out here at Buffalo Wings and Rings. It's been fun the last 2 days. If you were here, we appreciate you coming by and watching some basketball. Strick, it's been fun. Have a great weekend. Bach will be back on Monday. Chat with you. For Eric Strickland, I am Jake Sorensen. It's been fun. We will talk to you on Monday. Enjoy the rest of the madness. Good night.